I'm Mia, 28 years old. I married a senior colleague 2 years ago. It was Ken, 2 years my senior, who asked me out. After we got married, it took a while for us to have a child, but considering our ages, we decided to start trying and, fortunately, I became pregnant. I'm due to give birth by the end of this year, and now that my morning sickness has subsided and I've entered the stable period of pregnancy, I'm busy preparing for the birth. Having lost my parents early in life, I've been incredibly supported by my in-laws. They're eagerly anticipating the arrival of their first grandchild. My in-laws live in a rural area, similar to the countryside in Nebraska, so we don't get to see each other often. However, they constantly remind me to take care of myself and eat well to have a healthy baby, sending me nutritious foods, fresh vegetables, and fruits they grow themselves. Thanks to that, I've gained a bit of weight lately, probably from overindulging in these fresh and delicious foods. I have a sister, Lisa, 32 years old. She's already married and has an adorable daughter. My 3-year-old niece, Amy. Amy's father, Dan, who's around the same age as Lisa, adores her. He often jests about knocking out anyone who talks about marrying her off. My sister just laughs it off, saying, "You're so silly." Well, they're a lively but lovely family. Upon learning of my pregnancy, my sister has become a great mentor, offering advice. "Feel free to ask me anything you don't understand," she says. Since she's experienced, I plan to learn a lot from her. She even mentioned having some baby items I could use, which would really help our budget. When I go to the gynecologist, my sister often accompanies me. My doctor is Dr. Brown, a veteran and trustworthy woman. She once gave us a lecture, including my husband. First and foremost, the pregnant woman is the priority. Everything else comes after, she advised. Is that so? My husband asked, looking nervous. Of course. I'm not saying the husband should do all the housework. Pregnant women need moderate exercise. However, they shouldn't lift heavy objects or reach for things high up. The key is to let them exercise moderately without overexerting, Dr. Brown explained. Got it. My husband nodded, absorbing her advice. Don't worry. I can manage the cooking and shopping. So, if you could help out with the cleaning and laundry, that would be really helpful. When I straightforwardly ask my husband, he responds with a smile. Oh, that's not much different from now. I'll handle the heavy shopping, like beverages. I was genuinely happy that he took the initiative to say such things. After getting married, I quit my job and now work part-time at a local supermarket, doing cashier work and stocking shelves. I work 3 days a week for 3 to 4 hours, which is manageable and not too taxing. Many experienced mothers work there, offering advice and support. Lately, my husband's job has become busier. Since I used to work at the same company, I'm familiar with his work. It's an office job that typically doesn't require much overtime, except during the financial year end. Upon asking, I learned that he has been busy setting up a new department. It seems he has been appointed as a leader, working alongside younger colleagues. I've got to work hard now that I'm going to be a father, he says. However, I'm worried about him overdoing it. Don't push yourself too hard, I tell him. Don't worry. I'm taking breaks when needed, he assures me. And he said that to reassure me. One day, I got a call from my cousin, Mia. I need some advice. It's my cousin Ben who calls me Mia. He's 2 years younger than me, but he just got married last year. His wife is Jen. They were classmates and have been dating since high school. Recently, we found out she's pregnant, and they often come to me, a slightly more experienced parent, for advice. What do you need help with? I asked. Well, Minori's morning sickness is really bad. She can't stand the smell of food and can't eat anything. What should I do? I laughed and said, silly. If she can't eat bread, there's always soup, right? That sounds like something Marie Antoinette would say. Or is it the bread theory? Anyway, be serious. What did you do when you had morning sickness? I just gave up on foods that I couldn't stand the smell of and ate what I craved. Also, I made sure to stay hydrated. Chewing mint gum or candies helped too. Got it? Thanks. I'll call you if I have more questions. Ben, my cousin, is like a junior in this journey. Our families live close, and since he's self-employed, we've had many chances to meet. Meanwhile, my husband Ken's weekend work had increased. He said he needed to sort through paperwork gathered during the week. We were spending less and less time together, and I started to feel a change in his attitude. One night, I complained, "Can't you do something about work? You said you'd help with the chores, but I'm doing everything." I was heavily pregnant, and even cutting my nails was becoming a struggle. But instead of acknowledging my requests, he often dismisses them, saying, "Work is really crucial for me right now. Shouldn't you be the one helping me out?" I understand his point, but I respond, I get it, but I'm also going through a tough time. Look at how big my belly is getting. I'm working hard for a child. Don't just push your problems onto me. Besides what? I asked. I heard you've been seeing some man outside. What? A man? Oh, you mean my cousin. He's been helping me with shopping when you're not around. Your cousin? Really? I heard it's been going on for a while. Well, he's family, so of course we meet. Fine. Just bear with it for a bit longer. Things remained tense as my due date approached. Then the labor pains started, and I headed to the hospital with my sister. When we arrived, they told me I was ready to move to the delivery room and would stay for postpartum care. My sister called Ken, but he couldn't be there for the birth or help with preparations due to work. So, my sister took care of everything. 5 hours after arriving at the hospital, I gave birth to a boy. Despite the intense pain, the midwife said it was an easy delivery, and seeing my baby's cute face made it all feel worthwhile. That night, Ken came to the hospital. The doctor smiled. Praise your wife for her hard work. Why don't you hold your son? I was exhausted in bed but looked forward to seeing Ken's happy face. But he wasn't smiling and remained silent, even looking at the baby. Then, he muttered, Is he really my child? What? Why would he say that? I was shocked. The doctor reassured, You'll find him adorable in no time. I gathered myself and said, He's our child. Let's do our best to raise him. However, my husband's expression was blank. Then, out of the blue, he said, Doctor, I have a request. Please conduct a DNA test on this child. I was speechless at his words. DNA test. He really doubts that the child is his. I couldn't believe it. The doctor was just as stunned. Of course, we can do it, but it's not something you should be asking on the day of birth, she said. Despite the doctor's attempt to dissuade him, my husband insisted and requested the test. Are you doubting me? That's terrible. I was outraged. The postpartum pain seemed to fade in the heat of the moment, and I shouted, I just want to know the truth. If it's confirmed that he's really our child, that's all that matters. I'll be relieved. Or is there something you're afraid of being revealed by the test? His insinuation that I had something to hide was appalling. I'm not asking for gratitude, but demanding a DNA test right away is the worst. Sensing that a fruitless argument was brewing, the doctor, with a sense of resignation, agreed. Well then, let's conduct the test. I was upset, but certain the child was ours, so I decided to face it. When my husband left the room, I broke down in tears. I thought my husband would be happy, but instead, he doubts me so much that he's even demanding a DNA test. Later, as per his request, the DNA test was conducted, and we arranged to receive the results on the weekend when he would visit. On the day of the report, my husband arrived at the hospital, strangely calm. The doctor took out the report. I'll get straight to the point, she said. Yes. The result of the test shows that the probability of Ken being the father of your son is. She paused, then revealed, 0%. This child is not Ken's biological son. I was speechless, feeling like I was going to faint. There was no way. I had no explanation. Yet, how could he? My mind went blank. Ken smirked and triumphantly said, So you tried to pin a child conceived in an affair on me. He pointed at me and declared, We're getting a divorce. All the responsibility is yours. Be ready for a hefty alimony demand. With those final words, he left the room. I was left completely dumbfounded, unable to do anything else. I told my sister and my cousin Ben all about it. My sister listened calmly and then said determinedly, We can't let this false accusation stand. We need to set things straight. Ben was oddly smirking. Don't worry, Mia. My part is all set. I was exasperated. This isn't something to be calm about. My sister was furious. Haha. I see, she said. Ben seemed amused. I couldn't tell if they were serious or just enjoying my misfortune. Later, my husband called. I've decided to divorce. My parents agree. I'm the victim here, so I'll be asking for about $30,000 in alimony. That was what he stated. I replied, I'll let my lawyer handle it. Is that okay? He said, Fine. You pay the birth expenses yourself. I won't spend a dime on someone else's child. I retorted, Do whatever you want. He continued, If you can't pay the alimony, I'll take the house and land. I'm the victim, so I have the right. My husband remained adamantly assertive. That house and land are from my deceased parents, I said. He dismissed it. I don't care. I'm busy preparing for the divorce. I'll contact you later. After the call, I reported everything to my sister, and we started planning our next steps. Soon, I was ready to be discharged from the hospital, and my cousin Ben came to pick me up. Hi, how are you feeling? Yes, I've recovered quite a bit, but now is when the real work begins. I need to do my best for this child. I peer down at the tiny life wrapped in a swaddle. That's right. Everything's set on my end. Let's give your husband a taste of his own medicine, but threefold. While having such a conversation, we arrived home. My house, which I hadn't seen in a while, looked completely different. My husband had moved out all of his belongings. The empty room still held the baby supplies I had prepared. There was a note from him. I'm leaving the house and won't return. Don't bother looking for me at my parents'. Contact me only when necessary. I knew where he might be. He's quick with such arrangements. I sighed, exasperated. Soon after, my husband called. The timing was perfect. As soon as I answered the phone, my husband let out a scream. What's this about sending stuff to my office? He yelled. No, that. Since you didn't tell me where you were, I had no choice but to send it to your office. I replied casually. What have you done? I had to explain to my boss about our divorce. Now everyone at work is looking at me weirdly. As planned, things were getting chaotic for him. It's none of my concern. So, you've seen the contents, right? Make sure to come to the lawyer's office. Don't run away. Who's running away? Be ready. I'll fight this to the end. It seemed the legal notice arranged by my lawyer had reached him at his office. I could almost picture his flustered state. The noose was tightening around him. At the lawyer's office, we discussed the divorce. My husband's parents were there too. On my end, my sister and her husband were there to accompany me. My sister and her husband Dan, who treats me like his own sister, accompanied me. And then the discussion began. My wife cheated and had a child, trying to pass it off as mine and raise it with my money. I demand alimony and her house and land as compensation. These were my husband's main reasons for divorce and conditions. Well, he's quite assertive, isn't he? Feeling well prepared, I remained calm. The lawyer explained. We understand. However, in a divorce due to infidelity, property division still occurs. Don't expect all your demands to be met. It's my job to reconcile differing opinions based on facts. Please understand that, my husband retorted. Justice is on my side. It's almost fraud to cheat and have another man's child. Should we call the police? His parents added. Mia, how could you? We were happy about our first grandchild, but to learn it's not Ken's. We're heartbroken. The child suffers the most. Please repent and raise the child properly. And my in-laws all chimed in, saying the same thing. My husband was convinced of his victory. Regardless of the lawyer's presence, what you did can't be forgiven. I'm the victim here. Your remorse and apology are what matter. Are you ready to repent and apologize? He was sure of his triumph. Now was the time. No, Ken, you're the one who needs to repent and apologize. What? His shocked reaction made him stand up. I calmly continued. Just give it up. I know everything already. What are you talking about? I know who your lover is. I'll demand compensation from him too. It was time to reveal my trump card. I've invited someone here, actually. You? One of your cronies? My husband was in full battle mode. Don't be silly. I'm the victim here, so I've brought a witness. I retorted. A witness? Please come in, I said, and two people entered. My husband's mouth fell open. You are. And you are. Yes? This is Dr. Brown from the maternity clinic and my cousin Ben. Hello, Dr. Brown greeted. Nice to meet you. I am Ben, Mia's cousin. Ben introduced himself. You're Mia's affair partner. You're cousins and you had a child together? Don't be ridiculous. I'm just a close family friend. We just discussed pregnancy issues since my wife is also expecting. I've never seen Mia in that way, Ben defended. I smirked at Ben's comment. Time for a little payback later. It's time for my part, Dr. Brown interjected with a wry smile. Sorry, doctor, please go ahead, I urged. All right. I'll keep it brief. The baby is, without a doubt, the child of Ken and Mia. What? My husband was shouting, clearly surprised. But the test said he wasn't my child. You bribed the staff to falsify the results. The hospital's chairman, my husband, confronted the staff, who broke down and confessed everything. We recorded the confession. If that husband were to interrogate me, I might end up confessing. Gosh darn it. My husband bit his lip. Dr. Brown continued, Mia's sister brought your hair for a retest. It's unusual, but after hearing her out, we did another test. It confirmed the baby is yours. The staff member involved has been fired. It's a matter of our hospital's reputation. My father-in-law was stunned. Ken, why would you do this? He stood up and confronted my husband. Well, that is. Ken stammered, and my sister spoke up. He's the one who cheated. My in-laws gasped. We saw Ken with another woman in the city. Mia said he was working that day, so it seemed suspicious. We had Ben investigate, she explained. Ben boasted. I used to work for a detective agency, so investigations are my forte. We found plenty of evidence of his affair. Here's one of their conversations. My sister played the recording on her IC recorder. In the midst of it all, there were Ken's voice and a woman's voice. We're going to fake the DNA test result. That way, it becomes evidence of infidelity. There's someone more suitable for her. She says it's just her cousin, but there are photos too, so I'll accuse him of cheating. If it goes that way, I can push all the blame onto my wife and get a divorce. I'll get alimony, and I can even charge her for making a child, so I'll take the house and land. I'll be the tragic hero. There's no problem with me being with you. How about it? I'm a genius, right? More like a villain than a genius. You sound like a corrupt official, she replied. Following that conversation, I could hear the two of them laughing heartily. After playing the recording, Ben added, we even have photos. Your partner is Kate. She's a junior colleague in your company and works in the same team, doesn't she? My husband's face turned pale. With the evidence laid out so clearly, there was no room for excuses. Now, with the truth revealed, it's my turn, the lawyer said with a sly smile. He then took various documents out of an envelope and explained as follows. Mia's demands are as follows. First, she requests a divorce. She says she won't question the fabrication of the DNA test, so we won't deal with that here. She's seeking alimony from Ken and the woman he cheated with. Furthermore, Ken will be asked to split assets and provide child support. My in-laws were dumbstruck by this unexpected turn of events. My husband, pressed hard by me and my sister, was devastated. I filled out and signed the divorce papers and had my husband fill out his part. The completed divorce papers were then filled out by the lawyer, and they were submitted promptly. We left the office and celebrated with a toast at a nearby shop. And so, I divorced Ken. I received a substantial amount in alimony and child support in a lump sum. Oh, and I named my son Mike. It seems my in-laws fronted the money. Ken was disowned by his parents. He's slowly paying off his debts. Ken's mistress was a colleague from the same company. Their affair during work hours led to them both being fired for violating company policies. Left alone by the woman, Ken struggled to find a new job and now works part-time at a gas station. I live with my son, Mike. He's still small, so I took a leave of absence to focus on childcare. For now, we can manage with the alimony. Mike is adorable, and I often take photos and videos of him, which my cousin Ben edits and uploads to a video site. To my surprise, they're quite popular. Thanks to the popularity of the site, I've even started earning money from these videos. With this significant income, I plan to save for Mike's future. My childcare is supported by those around me. Not only my sister but also my part-time colleagues have helped me, especially the female colleagues, who shop for me when I can't and deliver it to my house. Interestingly, the delivery guy turned out to be always the store manager. He's also divorced, and it was their scheme to set us up. When Mike turned 1, the manager proposed to me. Despite his position, he's humble, hardworking, and treats everyone equally, which I admired. We had many chances to talk during his deliveries, and my affection for him quickly turned into fondness. I happily accepted his proposal. Mike had grown fond of him too, and he seemed trustworthy with Mike. Though we're engaged, we're not rushing into marriage and are in a preparation phase. Lately, Mike started calling him manager or dad. It seems I've managed to recapture the happiness I once let go of. This time, I'm determined to hold on to this happiness firmly. I made this decision while watching Mike's peaceful sleeping face.